keep kind of hinting at the positive results and how it has helped out your students. What do you see among your students? How did it change the culture of your school?
Totally. Well, I personally get to teach a couple classes, and I'll speak to some of those experiences first, then more broadly. But I get to teach a couple classes that involve a lot of discussion. And my Bible doctrines class can turn into more lecture at times, so it can take a good bit of attention, and it can be hard to engage for long periods like that. But I try to regularly ask questions that engage students to be a part of the discussion versus just a lecture. And in that class, it was noticeable early on how much more engaged they are. And that's not just a marketing thing to say. It really is true. And I've mentioned the one is because you don't have the mood killer when you call out one student for being on their phone. Right. And either they were and they don't like being called out, or maybe they weren't, or maybe they claimed they weren't. And then that just takes away the energy that's there in the, what you really want to do, which is teach to an engaged classroom. And then, on the other hand, I also saw that I feel like their thoughts were able to be sustained longer. They had the ability to have a discussion, or because they were more present for the lecture time of the discussion, they could provide greater feedback instead of wandering in their own thoughts or being distracted by a phone and then trying to catch back up to speed. They were already a little bit more engaged. It doesn't mean there's not still daydreaming that happens, or times where you're distracted by a friend. That happens, but I'd say if you could put it into percentages, you would see a difference of how much engagement in a sustained way that gives them better ability to have good conversation in a discussion-oriented class, which is actually my psychology class and sociology class. Both of those are much more discussion-based, and again, just helps them be more present. If anything, it's been kind of a fun thing to point out, but if anything, it's just most of our environments where our students are louder. I mean, the lunchroom is a hilarious example. The year that we first ran with the program, the noise level was significantly higher. It was hilarious. I mean, we were chuckling that first week or two at just, we actually, this kind of shows you why. We actually, for years, comments have been made, oh, the 7th and 8th graders are always so loud at lunch. And that was because at the time they weren't allowed to have cell phones, while 9th through 12th could. Well, we realized it was actually just the presence of cell phones, because now the 9th through 12th graders are just as loud as the 7th and 8th graders. So it's their
reputation is spared.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been really fun to see the energy brought back to their relationships that are present with them in those moments, where they're more engaged with each other. And even as I mentioned with that one student in the past, where they even find the value of being present, and their friends, their peers being present with them, being able to enjoy the extra energy that comes from that. So all that's been really good. I mean, there's even more things I could say, but I think it just goes on and on. So many helpful things. And maybe one more I'll mention just related to that lunchroom, because it makes me think of it. Another thing that would sometimes happen, and it's so sad, is you'd have students, some already on the whole, do you have an iPhone or Android, and all that's there. Well, add to that the ability for someone to quickly snap a photo, airdrop it to some of their friends, and it's an awkward picture, because pictures can, of course, be so awkward sometimes. You've got someone in the middle trying to take a bite of the piece of food, or they're awkwardly looking one way, just imagine if you're at a table where this half of the table is laughing and the other half of the table doesn't really know why, but then later it's found out, it was a picture that so-and-so took of you. And now, you just feel for that person. And of course, then your relationships get negatively impacted pretty quickly.
Sure.
So just over and over again, I'd say we are a school that really loves to push relationships. And we find that our relationships have benefited, as I mentioned before, faculty, student, and student to student as a result of the Yonder program. And so, not that I'm their, marketing person, but man, it almost could be. It really
could be.
Yep.
Enjoyed this short clip? That was just a sneak peek into a full episode on the Teacher Edition podcast. We are passionate about supporting Christian educators like you. Looking for more inspiration and practical strategies you could use today? Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by BJU Press.